Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mean Streets, powered by FTN, presented by Game Plus Network. Chris Meaney here with you. Thanks, as always, for taking the time to hang out here today. We got a lot to get to on this show. We're just a couple days away from Conference Championship Weekend happening. We got a great guest today as well, Chelsa Messenger. She's the host of Daily Tip on Odyssey, presented by BetMGM. She's going to stop by for a couple segments. We're about 7-8 minutes away from bringing her in. We are going to preview both games here this weekend. Of course, you already know we've been talking a lot about both games. In the AFC, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals going at it yet again. They played in Week 17. It was a phenomenal matchup, a lot of points. We saw KC blow a lead, and now Burrow has to go to KC's house. They've been practicing all week, simulating noise. I don't know. It's going to be a little different for Joe Burrow and company. They thought last week was pretty noisy in Nashville, Tennessee. But I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty loud at Arrowhead. We'll talk about that game. And, of course, we will also break down the third meeting this season between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. So Chelsa covers absolutely everything. Pretty impressive. She's covering everything from college sports to, of course, the NFL and NBA. There's only 2 games on the hard court. We may talk a little basketball with Chelsa, but it's going to be mostly about these 2 games happening this weekend. Some picks, some props, all that good stuff happening here in just a few moments. Tino is going to drop by in a little bit as well. He does have some NBA stuff for us, even though, like I said, there's just 2 games on the hard court, and there are 10 games on the ice here this evening. Dangle Betselli will be live at 2 Eastern on our FTN YouTube page, as well as FTNBets.com. We will talk a little hockey on the show, of course, right? It wouldn't be Mean Streets without talking about a couple shot props, as well as some NHL picks, some point props. I got some goal scorers with you as well, but Eric Young and myself will break it all down, all 10 games, a little DFS angle for you as well. And again, not a lot of shot props available for books across the board. I'm not seeing a ton of action just yet, but I have a couple guys that I have my eye on, and we'll keep an eye on things as we get closer to puck drop. As I always say, if you're watching on Game Plus, we appreciate you. Always a great lineup on Game Plus Network. We ask you to head on over to our FTN YouTube page, smash the like button on this video. If you have any questions, anything at all that you hear on this show, whether it's an NHL thing, an NFL thing, a prop that you like, something that you're unsure of, fantasy, hockey, basketball, season-long stuff, you can always leave a question in the YouTube section, and I will always circle back before puck drop, tip-off, or, of course, kickoff in the NFL happening this weekend. It is Conference Championship Week, and it's exciting, isn't it? It really is. I'm always excited about this, but it does feel a little bit different. It's the first time in 12 years where we haven't seen Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. This is, I guess, the start of a new era. A lot of great quarterbacks in the AFC. This could be the start of a Burrow and maybe a Mahomes rivalry. We already know that Allen and Mahomes have something going on as well. But, you know, I started to think that, will we see Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers again? Is that it? I just like reminisce about everything that has happened with those 2 guys. I'm sure we'll see, I think we'll see Rodgers again, and I think we'll see Tom Brady. But I don't know. We may not. Like, it's possible that he maybe leaves or he hangs him up. The Bucs have a lot of guys to sign. It's not going to be the same team as it was earlier in the season when guys were falling and suffering injuries, or the team that won the Super Bowl last season. And then I just started to think about all the AFC quarterbacks, like the young blood that they have in the AFC. Of course, you got the big 3 that we just talked about, and I'm including Burrow in that big 3 with Mahomes and Allen. You got Herbert, Lamar, and then the young bucks like Mac Jones and Tua and Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. There's a lot of great young quarterbacks in the AFC. And I look at the NFC, you got Kyler is a little bit unproven, got some upside there. Dak Prescott, like 28 now, a little unproven. Does Rodgers leave and go to Denver? There is some news in the NFL. We have our first head coaching hire, and it does happen in Denver. And it's Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers, now the head coach in Denver. I like this hire. It's an offensive mind, something that they needed, right? Fangio, John Fox, these guys were great defensive coaches. They needed some offensive blood there, and now the Rodgers rumors can start. Aaron Rodgers, does he go to Denver, and does he bring Devontae Adams, or the Packers franchise tag him? A lot in the air, but man, that's the first step in my opinion. And Hackett's done some good things, of course, with Green Bay over the past couple of years. You know, West Coast offense, some RPO type offense in there. Obviously, they've been really good over the past couple of years with Rodgers, but credit to Hackett as well with Blake Bortles. He was the quarterback coach there. They were like 1 or 2 passes away from beating Tom Brady and the Patriots and heading to the Super Bowl. Let's talk about the 3 stars in the NHL before we bring on Chelsa quickly here. And it is led by Dylan Strome. We have Johnny Gaudreau and Cale Makar in there. You know, for Strome, just a hat trick, 4 points. Had to give him some love. 2 of the points on the power play, 6 shots. Not a great season-long asset, but, you know, when he's in the lineup, he's playing with Patrick Kane, somebody that you can consider in DFS. Johnny Hockey there, 3 assists and 6 shots on goal. Johnny Hockey, I mean, 51 points in 38 games, the 5th fastest through 38 games in franchise history. 12 points in his last 4. His buddy Matthew Tkachuk has 12 points over that span as well. The Flames are rolling there in action again this evening. They hammered the Columbus Blue Jackets last night. And then Cale Makar had a goal, the overtime winner last night. We were on the Bruins and the over, and they blew it. We didn't get it there, unfortunately. But Colorado extended their home winning streak to 17 straight. 17 straight on home ice. The Red Wings have the record at 23, but Makar, 13 points in his last 11. He's got points in 9 of those 11 games, 17 goals and 41 points in 37 games. It's unheard of, really, for a defenseman. It's like the Paul Coffey. It's what it reminds me of, Paul Coffey in the 80s. But the Avs have 41 goals from their blue line, and it's not even close. They do lead the way. They have won 8 straight games overall, and they've outscored their opponents 28-12. We'll talk some hockey more in a little bit. We'll also talk some NBA and take a look at the 3 stars from last night in the association when we bring on Tino. It is time to get into championship week here on Mean Streets. Chelsea Messenger is in here next. Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. Keep her locked.
Levels.
Welcome back to Mean Streets here on Game Plus Network. Thanks as always for taking the time to hang out. Chris Meaney here, and I am super pleased to bring in our next guest, Chelsa Messenger, the host of The Daily Tip on Odyssey, presented by BetMGM. Chelsa, thanks for taking the time here today. Welcome in.
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. I know.
Well,
I know. Go ahead.
We use all these different programs since hashtag work from home has become a thing. So I know my audio works in the programs that I use, but the problem is there's so many of them.
I know. Well, you sound lovely. I appreciate you, taking the time here. I know it's not an ideal setup, but we are live on Game Plus Network, and I'm super pleased to talk some football with you as well. Before we get into the conference championship games, there was some news here this morning in the NFL. We had our first coaching hire. Nathaniel Hackett leaves Green Bay and he goes to Denver. And of course, Chelsea, it's all anybody is going to talk about here this week is Aaron Rodgers. I just wanted to ask you before we got into it, do you believe that Aaron Rodgers is finished in Green Bay? And do you think that there's a chance that he could join his buddy Hackett in Denver?
Yeah, I think he's definitely done in Green Bay. Like, we've seen it all season long. Like, he's already posted to his Instagram that it was the last dance. But the problem with going to Denver, why would you want to play in the AFC? Do you see the young quarterbacks that are in the AFC right now? Do you see the quarterback that's in the AFC West, Patrick Mahomes? And oh, by the way, I haven't even talked about Justin Herbert. Why would you want to go to that division? You do what Tom Brady did. You go to a division that's a little bit easier to win at, and you go there. You play in warm weather. Like, I know that everybody's going to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is going to Denver, and maybe he is, but I wouldn't want to play in the AFC.
I agree. I kind of said that off the top that Aaron Rodgers has it made. I know that things haven't worked out for him over the past couple of years, but there's not a lot of competition inside the NFC North. He seems to get that bye every other year. And then you mentioned some of the great quarterbacks inside the AFC West, but also some young and upcoming quarterbacks as well across the AFC. So I agree. I think he has it made. I think he should stay there, but I do believe that the relationship is probably over in Green Bay. Chelsea, you had a Twitter poll on your Twitter handle, Chelsa Messenger, on the Twitter machine, and you had asked people just their favorite bet in this Bengals and Chiefs game, and that's where I wanted to start with you. The winner was Cincinnati plus 7.5. You have the Chiefs in there at 7.5. You have the over 54.5 and the under 54.5. What is your favorite bet from that game?
Yeah, I'm looking at the over. I think I am tempted to take the points with the Bengals, but the line being this high almost scares me. Like, think of the spread in normal regular season games. When the spread is this high, normally a team's terrible. So I think this line is kind of telling, and a lot of people are going to want to jump on the Bengals. Maybe they can keep it close here, but what I am expecting is both teams to get some points. When you have playmakers on both sides of the ball like this, I don't think it matters what kind of defense you're running. And we saw it last week. The Chiefs couldn't stop Josh Allen, and obviously he's a little bit more dynamic with his feet. But even if you look at the regular season, the Bengals give up the third most plays of 20-plus yards, and the Chiefs come in giving up the fourth most plays of 40-plus yards. And plus, Tyrann Mathieu is coming in banged up. We're not even sure if he's going to play. He's on the concussion list. So when you take away him, and when you look at the playmakers that Cincinnati has, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. And I know the O-line is the issue. The O-line is the problem. Anytime you get sacked 9 times, it's certainly an issue. But the Titans came in the only team in the NFL with 8+ sacks from 3 different players. So I think that people are shortchanging the defensive line in Tennessee. I think Joe Burrow is probably going to be sacked a few times, but he still had 348 yards against the Titans. So I think we see points here. I'll be rolling with an over.
I'm with you. I think we're going to see a lot of points too, and I hope we do. I don't know how these 2 games this weekend, Chelsea, could top last weekend's 4 games, which were just phenomenal. But taking a look at Kansas City's pass rush, from next-gen stats, the win rate for them on the season was 45%, which is the 7th best mark in the NFL. They had a season-high 59% Week 17 against Cincy, and you alluded to it. That seems to be the Bengals' maybe Achilles heel. The defense has improved. They can get some pressure off the quarterback. They have all kinds of great weapons, but protecting Joe Burrow is probably the one thing that they are really trying to focus on this week in practice. Is there a prop that does stand out? I mean, we both like some points, so I think we can take an opportunity to really maybe hammer Joe Burrow's passing yards. Do we go back to Jamar Chase, who had the 266-yard game when these two teams met in Week 17? Joe Mixon has been a big factor through the air in the passing game over the past 4 or 5 games as well. Is there a prop in this game that stands out to you, Chelsea?
Yeah, I think the Joe Burrow passing prop seems a little bit square, but I think it's the obvious play. The Bengals aren't going to be in this game if they're running the football. They need Joe Burrow to really take over this game and throw to his weapons. I think Jamar Chase, even if the game plan is to stop him, you still have T. Higgins, and the tight end for the Bengals has been pretty good as well. So it's not just Jamar Chase. And it's not like Joe Burrow has been airing it out. It's been short passes that Jamar Chase just wiggles away and gets free. So I know the problem with the O-line is you can't do those deep passes because you don't have the time to throw it. But Jamar Chase has still been an explosive playmaker for me. But other props I like, another square one, but I do like it. Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. He's had a touchdown in each of the last 5 games, 2 touchdowns against the Chargers. And I think he's a guy that can't be guarded. When it comes to props in the postseason, I think you lean on the guys that got you there. Why would you go away from your most explosive playmaker? So I think Travis Kelce anytime touchdown, also a solid play as well.
He just seems to score a touchdown not only over the last 5 games, but every single playoff game. You're right? Pass it to the guys who have gotten you there. I mean, lean on your superstars, and we saw that with Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, especially with 13 seconds on the line. What did you make of that Bills and Chiefs game? I mean, that was... I don't know. Like, can you? I know recency bias is huge when you're talking about games like that, but can you remember a game that exciting towards the end of it?
It reminded me of a college game, like the breakdown in defenses. And I feel like that is the biggest difference between college and the NFL is the secondary. Usually we don't see a ton of great secondary players in college, at least not a whole team of them. So as exciting as it was to watch, like what happened in that 13 seconds? Like Like, I'm not going to say it's embarrassing because, like, the Bills still played a great overall game, but, like, something went wrong there. Like, the coverage was not great. You can't just leave the middle wide open like that.
No, and it certainly burned them. Let's take a quick break, Chelsea. Hang on for one more segment. We're going to talk about the other game as well. And you and I chatted a little bit back and forth. You didn't think anybody would want to hear about maybe a college basketball game that you like tonight. I don't know. I think we do. I listened to your show a little bit this morning, and I think you had some really good takes. And we like college basketball here on the show, and we love winners. And I think you're onto something. So, Chelsea, hang on for one more segment, and we'll be back here on Mean Streets. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Game Plus Network right here. Mean Streets, Chelsa Messenger, the host of Daily Tip on Odyssey, presented by BetMGM. You can check that out weekdays at 6 to 9 Eastern. Already a show in the books. Chelsea, you are up early in the morning.
Oh, I laugh because I'm up at 3:15 a.m. every single day, which is especially challenging when you're expected to know about sports that happen predominantly at night.
I don't know how you do it because I am up until 3:15 in the morning, especially on the far East Coast. Some of these games don't get over until 2:33 in the morning, and then it's the rush. I gotta relax a little bit. So, what time do you get any sleep at all?
Yeah, I sleep during the day like a degenerate. People come around or people call me at noon, and I tell them, I was like, this is when I sleep. I don't sleep at night, so I have to sleep during the day. Naps are my friend.
Naps should be everybody's friends. I am with you on that one for sure. Let's talk about the other conference championship game happening in Los Angeles, the third matchup between the Rams and the 49ers. They won both matchups, San Fran, this year. They've won 6 straight games against Sean McVay and the Rams, Kyle Shanahan and company. The total at 46.5. We have LA at 3.5 here. If you want to back the 49ers, the best possible odds I'm seeing using our free parlay calculator and prop shop over at ftnbets.com. San Fran plus 155 and the Rams here minus 165. Man, it looked like LA was really going to throw that game away, Chelsea, last week against Tom Brady. It seems like everyone just gets a little nervous when they play Tom Brady in the playoffs to close the door. They found a way to win that game despite multiple turnovers. And of course, it was Cooper Kupp, completely fitting considering the season he has had, to finish that game off against the Bucs. What do you think happens in this contest?
This is a tricky one because the big theme of the week is people saying, oh, well, it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. But we have seen this. History says that's not exactly true because in this situation, the team that has won each of those last 2 games ends up covering 64% of the time in the third matchup within the same season. So I know we'll see narratives like this, and that's kind of how it's going to be now until the Super Bowl. You'll see a lot of the same takes kind of recycled. But for me in this one, it's about the defenses. We have already seen this total drop a full point down from, I think, what is it at, 46.5 now? That's where we've seen the movement. 3.5 is held steady for the line in this one. I'm really tempted to take the points with the Niners. I think that's probably the right side. But the Rams on paper are the much better team. That's the thing. At this stage, the Rams, if they execute at their highest level and if Matt Stafford can take care of the football, they should be almost unbeatable. But that's the problem. You need to execute at your highest level and you need Matt Stafford to continue to take care of the football. I think I would be playing an under in this one. Because, oh, by the way, the Rams have a pretty solid pass rush as well. So I think the defenses take center stage in this one. And we've seen how conservative Sean McVay has really been in the second half. So I think if you want to play a side in this one, you either take the Niners full game plus 3.5, or if you like the Rams, maybe take them in the first half -3 if you're not so sure about the Rams holding on to a lead. So those are some of the plays I'm considering for this one. Strongest play, probably the under.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, the third time these two, there's going to be no surprises, I don't think, from these squads. They know each other so well. The defense on both sides, really, really strong. And you had some great numbers there on covering for the third time. Not only that, but 14-7 is the record for teams that have the 2 wins. So you're right. It just seems to be this narrative out there. It's tough to beat a team 3 times. I get it. It really is. But if you look at the numbers, 21 instances, teams that are 2-0 are 14-7 in that third meeting. It really is about Matthew Stafford. On the other side, it does seem to be about Jimmy Garoppolo too. I have a hard time. I don't want to be hard on the guy. I mean, he has won a lot of games and in the playoffs, not really using his arm. I think Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit there. But when the game comes down to the final drive, it seems like, Matthew Stafford is that guy that can certainly get it done. Is there any props that jump out to you? One, Chelsea, that jumps out to me, and I'll just throw it to you to see if you like it, is Otto Beckham Jr. not just have a touchdown, but 4.5 catches. It's plus money. This is somebody that has trended up in this offense. When he was first acquired by the Rams, when he signed the contract, he wasn't 100% healthy. He was just learning the offense. He was just stepping in. His snaps were limited. His routes that he was running were certainly limited as well. But over the past couple of weeks and certainly into the playoffs, clearly Cooper Kupp is Stafford's guy. But that second option in the passing game does seem to be Odell Beckham Jr. Have you seen anything that you've liked from him since he's been a Ram?
Yeah. I mean, he's a dynamic playmaker. I think that number might be a touch too high for me to bite on it. 4.5 at plus 125 over a BetMGM. It kind of scares me off it that it's that much plus money. And you're right. He certainly can be a big threat in this game. A certified number one receiver that isn't even the number one receiver there. But still, I think you lean on the guys that got you there. So I think Cooper Kupp is still going to get a lion's share of the targets here. I don't think I'm taking over 7.5 receptions, even though it is juiced minus 150 to the over. But for me, the prop I like in this one, Cooper Kupp, anytime touchdown. A touchdown in his last 8 games, 8 touchdowns in the last 8 games, at least one in 7 of 8, and in both playoff games. So I think that is the way that I am playing this one when it comes to props, and also taking a long, hard look at both of the unders for the passing yards for the quarterbacks. Matt Stafford, 282.5, kind of like the under there. It's juiced to minus 120. And then Jimmy G, under 233.5. The Niners are not winning this game if they're throwing the ball. I think they're trying to run the football and play a little ball control.
I would agree with that as well. Chelsea, something that we talked about earlier in the week, we were looking at just Super Bowl MVP odds. Of course, Mahomes is up at the top. But one thing I thought was pretty interesting, I don't know if you've dove into too much of this, was that Jimmy Garoppolo had better Super Bowl MVP odds. Here we go right now. So you see the list, Jimmy Garoppolo 8-1, but yet Deebo Samuel at 16-1. Don't you feel like if the 49ers find a way to win the Super Bowl, he would be the MVP? I know we're looking ahead a little bit too much, but he, to me, has been the MVP of this squad down the stretch.
Oh, for sure. You will not find a bigger Deebo Samuel fan than me. Probably his family, I'll say that, and probably Jimmy G. But yeah, I definitely see that being a great value play at 16-1. Maybe even look further down the list. If you do think the Niners win, I think Nick Bosa's like 66-1 to win Super Bowl MVP. We've seen Von Miller win a Super Bowl MVP when the Broncos won it against the Panthers, and he did all that damage against Cam Newton, who then pouted in all the post-game pressers. But yeah, a defensive player can win. It's certainly a long shot, but you're playing it as a value play because you're not getting a ton of value on the quarterbacks, and the Niners are truly the one team on this list that I think you can get a guy that's not a quarterback to win Super Bowl MVP.
Before we get you out of here, I did want to talk a little bit about basketball. There's only 2 games in the association. If you had a play there that you wanted to talk about, by all means. But I think you had some great stuff with Belmont and Austin Peay. I know you said when we were chatting back and forth last night, and you're laughing. You're like, nobody wants to hear that. No, but I don't know. I disagree. What do you like from that game?
Well, here's the thing. In college basketball, usually the best value plays are not on the top tier teams. It is on the teams in the weaker conference that nobody pays attention to. But listen, Belmont here in Nashville has been a cover machine in this situation. Tonight, they're facing Austin Peay, and they're favored by 15.5 points. Listen, Belmont has covered as double-digit favorites in 7 of their last 8 matchups. The only time they did not cover as double-digit favorites was a late-game swap in which Austin Peay, the team they're playing tonight, had COVID, and they had to quickly fit in another team. And the other team was better. I feel like they didn't adjust the line. That's the only time that Belmont has not covered as double-digit favorites. And when you're trying to play double-digit favorites, you really need a high-octane offense that runs and guns and can speed up and run up the score. Belmont is just that. They're averaging 81 points a game and scoring well over 100 in a couple games this season against some bad teams. So I'll be going with Belmont minus 15.5 against Austin Peay.
Love it. We'll get you out of here on this officially, put you on the spot. Who's going to play in the Super Bowl and who wins the Super Bowl?
God, I don't want to give out a square play because what's the fun in that?
What
I'll
do
go
you think?
Chiefs. Let's do Niners. Can't do Chiefs Rams,
Niners.
right?
Nah. It's Chiefs Niners and Deebo Samuel MVP maybe, or Bosa.
Because that's the thing about our jobs. Like, there's no reward for picking the favorites. You got
I
to
know.
call your shot and then swing for the
Yeah.
fences, right?
Oh, look at you. You picked the Kansas City Chiefs against the Cincinnati Bengals. Wow. And then when you get it wrong, it's screenshot, clown emoji. What were you thinking taking them? Chelsea, why don't you tell us where people can check out your work and about your show?
Yeah, I am on bright and early each and every weekday, 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern on The Daily Tip. It's on terrestrial radio across the country in like 40 cities. But if you are not one of those cities, you can find it on the Odyssey app if you download the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. We chop it up into nice little 15-minute segments. So if you don't want to hear about the NBA, you don't have to. Just search The Daily Tip wherever you get your podcast. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, at Chelsa Messenger is how you find me.
Fantastic. And you guys had some hockey picks on there as well. I know your co-host was picking on the Montreal Canadiens this morning. We are going to do that next here on this show. Chelsea, keep up the great work. We appreciate you taking the time here. Hopefully we can do this again sometime. Enjoy the football and good luck with all your picks tonight and this weekend. Keep your lock. Mean Streets continues here on Game Plus Network. We're going to talk hockey, 10 games on the ice. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Mean Streets here on Game Plus Network. All right, guys, I'm smiling all the time. I'm a happy guy. I'm always smiling, right? I slept with a clothes hanger in my mouth last night. What do you want from me? Here we go. NHL, 10 games on the ice here tonight. We got some shot props, we got some picks, we got some point props. Eric Young and I are going to break all this down this afternoon. We had to reschedule the show. Dangle Betselli will be live at 2 Eastern over at FTNBets.com and, of course, here on our FTN YouTube page. So let's get after here what I was thinking just for some shot props. Again, I have a whole lot more in our FTN bet tracker. I've had some issues finding some shot props and just prices this early. And I'm saying this early, I mean it's almost 2:00 my time here, and 12:45 Eastern. I'm not really finding a whole lot, but I know guys that I want and that who I want to look for. I'm starting with Chris Kreider. I also think that Mika Zibanejad is in play here. A matchup against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They played last night. Did you guys see the shot attempts and the shots last night in the Calgary Flames and Columbus Blue Jackets game? It was 90-47, the shot attempts in favor of the Flames. The shots on goal were 62-23. Now the Blue Jackets got to play again tonight. Elvis Merzlikins, I mean, the guy had a 90 save percentage and he let in 6 goals. Like, he just saw so much rubber. Now they got to go to Korpisalo tonight. Chris Kreider's been hot. He's leading the NHL in goals. He's been unbelievable here over, the past 6-7 weeks. He's basically been automatic. 6 shots, 4 shots in his last 2 games. He's cleared 2.5 and 4 of his last 6. Again, Mika Zibanejad is clearly in play. We love Brian Rust. We love Brian Rust on this show. He is our guy. He's cleared in 3 straight games. Again, he's probably going to be juiced. Not finding him just yet, but you got to put him into parlays. I think most of my parlays will probably start with a Kreider, a Rust, maybe a Mika Zibanejad, Chris Letang, and then I'll go to the Carolina players. Svechnikov, 2.5, maybe Sebastian Aho, 2.5. These guys are going to be completely juiced, but as we talked about on Tuesday, when you put them into a parlay, 3 of these guys, you can get about 4-1 for a parlay, and that is where I'm going to start. For Teuvo Teravainen, he has been clearing lately, but a really good matchup here against the Ottawa Senators. The Sens over the last 6 weeks, according to Natural Stat Trick, 5-5 per 60. They've allowed the 6th most shot attempts. They're also inside the top 10 in scoring chances as well. So I like Teuvo Teravainen, but I do like... I didn't start my timer. I do like Andrei Svechnikov more than Teuvo. So that is honestly, I just didn't want to give it to minus 225, and I don't think he's going to be that, but you could probably see him Bet365, maybe minus 170, minus 175. Put him into a parlay with Kreider or Russ, and away you go. And then take Aho or take Teuvo Teravainen. But Teravainen's going to be pretty decent there, a decent price. For Braden Point, 2.5 shots. No Nikita Kucherov here. Point is cleared in 7 of his past 8 games. So no Kucherov. I think we can get by Point. And I think we can get into Victor Hedman's shot props as well. Remember, we shied away from him when Kucherov returned to the lineup. He wasn't pressing as much. Kucherov's been that trigger man on the power play for the Bolts, but with him on the COVID list, in a matchup against the Devils, who are just so leaky. I don't understand what people thought the Devils would be good this year. I know they've gone through a lot of adversity, but they're not a great team. They're not defensive without Dougie Hamilton. They're not getting the goaltending here. Tampa's been on a long road trip. They come back home, but I still like them to get some shots and some shot attempts. So Braden Point over 2.5, but I do believe Hedman's in play. And then Tyler Toffoli's cleared in every game since his return to the lineup. We're not getting plus money anymore for Tyler Toffoli, but we certainly like him. The Ducks played last night. They're inside the top 10 in shot attempts as well. Am the artist. Nurse is back at 2.5. Do we take him? Yes, we do. At 2.5, we do. I'm a little concerned that he's not on that top power play anymore. He gets some power play time with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, but Evan Bouchard, I watched that game the other night against the Canucks, and Bouchard, he was the guy on the power play. He was the one getting all those shot attempts that Nurse had. I'd like Leon Draisaitl a little bit more. I wanted to come in here with Draisaitl. It's a late game. We probably won't get him at plus money, but the fact that Nurse has dropped down, again, the process does still remain the same. He's getting a lot of ice time. He's still getting some power play time. We didn't get the 4 shots, and he broke our hearts on Tuesday, but I still do like him, Am the artist. I think he can go back to him and get him into some parlays as well. Tino, what else you got for us here? We got some goal scorers, we got some assist props here, and we have some picks. So we'll go through assists. Kreider's been scoring. When we get to goals, I do have a Ranger in there. I have no problem if he's red hot. Honestly, he's on a heck of a streak. But plus 170 for an assist against the Blue Jackets, who allowed 6 last night. And I don't even know if I've really got into some of their numbers. Over the last 6 weeks, according to Natural Stat Trick, at 5-5 per 60. The 3rd most shot attempts, the most shots, the highest goals against, 4th in scoring chances, and 3rd in high danger chances. The Rangers are going to get some chances here tonight against Columbus. There's no question they're going to get a lot of opportunities. Kreider's been hot. Mika Zibanejad is in play. Artemi Panarin is in play. But for Kreider, for the assist here, plus 170. I have no problem if you wanted to just take him for a goal. I think it potentially could be a 2-point night, but plus 170 I think is terrific value. I see you say Johnny Hockey for an assist. I like it too. It's a little bit juiced. I mentioned him off the top, just the run that he is on. I think he's in for, maybe a couple points. Matthew Tkachuk we had for an assist at plus money. We just didn't get it. He scored the 2 goals, but that line is one of the better ones going right now in the NHL. I have no problem with that play. Johnny Hockey is just a little bit too juiced for a single. Alexander Barkov to get a point here. The Florida Panthers, 21-3 on home ice, a league best, and the over is hit in 18 of those 24 games. We could see some offense here today. So it's decent odds, right, for an assist when it comes to Barkov. Aho, same sort of deal against the Sens. I think we see some fireworks from Carolina. They've been scoring a lot. They played to the over in every game this month but one. And then Braden Point for the assist, plus 120. And then Sidney Crosby for a 2-point night, plus 120. I had Brian Rust originally on here. I do like Rust. Rust was plus money for us on Tuesday for an assist as well. And he got there. He had a goal and he had an assist. And in his 9 home games this season, he has 7 goals and 17 points. 17 points in 9 home games. The Pens are massive favorites here tonight against the Kraken. We had the Crosby prop the other night as well, over 1.5 points, and that was against Arizona, and he hit it. It was plus 140. Now we're getting plus 160 here against a Kraken team. So I think either way that you could have some fun with some of these props when it comes to assists. Take a look at the Rangers, Mika Zibanejad, Kreider. Take a look at the Panthers, maybe Barkov, Anthony Duclair. You got Aho in there. Svechnikov is a good assist prop. Trocheck is a good value for a point prop. And then Braden Point for in the assist. Also Sidney Crosby. And I think you can get involved maybe with a Gensel assist or a Brian Russ assist as well. I mean, some of the hottest lines in the NHL going is that Crosby one with Gensel and Rust, the Lindholm, Johnny Hockey, and Matthew Tkachuk, the Dallas one with Rupe Hintz and company who are not in action, and then the Kreider with Mika Zibanejad up at the top as well. They started with Panarin on that line the other day against the Kings, and they didn't really get any offense, so they took Panarin off of it. We'll break Stefano, wow, hanging out. Vaccarino, hanging out on Mean Streets, looking for some NHL picks. We'll talk more about the Rangers and the Hurricanes. Also got some goal scorers here next as well. Mean Streets continues on Game Plus Network. Keep her locked. Welcome back to Mean Streets here on Game Plus Network. You guys act like I've never, like I always rock a hat. I'm seeing the comments. I'm just catching up here in the commercial break, and you guys got jokes here today. I love it. Maybe if we can win some picks and get the haircut. I mean, I haven't been able to get the haircut here. I rock the FTN hat here and there, but if we get some NHL picks, maybe we'll get it. Keep the jokes coming, guys. We love it. And G-Dub, I mean, come on, dude. You got the flow. We got the best flow, I think, at FTN, and you come in here with a Cowboys toque yesterday, a toque, a beanie. What do they call those again in the States? I'm not sure. Make myself look silly here off the top. NHL picks. Stefano, I saw your comment, Rangers money line for 2 units. I still like the Kreider assist as well. I think the Rangers probably score 4 or 5 tonight. I just think the shot attempts will be there. The assist props are tough to hit. I think it's a little bit easier to hit goal props and point props. And what I've been saying with some of these goal props and assist props is, You could take them as singles. I think that's the way I would go. But if you're putting them into parlays, round robin, kind of combo it. You check out Prize Picks. You go 3 for 4, 4 for 5. And away you go. You can afford to have one wrong, right? The Yager mullet tomorrow. I'm trying to get the haircut here, people, but it's tough. This COVID world. Not a lot happening, and I don't trust anybody to chop it off. NHL picks, Tino, let's go. Let's get into it. Waste enough time here with the nonsense. Carolina Hurricanes. Puck line, plus 105. I think you can take them in 60, although the odds have juiced. They're completely juiced now. Maybe we get away from Carolina in 60, but I think, you can put them in a parlay, put them in the bet tracker at a reasonable price this morning. But now I'm seeing, minus 170, minus 175 for Carolina in 60. Let's just take them by 2 here, plus 105. I like the Rangers here to win in 60 against Columbus. And, again, I don't know what else to say about the Blue Jackets. They've just really struggled. And I like this Rangers team, especially if Igor Shesterkin is going to be between the pipes for the Blue Shirts. And the Pittsburgh Penguins here I like them to win in 60 as well, but it's just too juice. I think you can get into maybe a parlay that does Carolina, Rangers, and Penguins, or we can just take the Penguins here in the puck line at minus 120. At home against the Seattle Kraken. This is the long shot bet for me of the day. The Vegas Golden Knights plus 160. You guys know me. I've been betting Florida all year. Got a 26-1 Stanley Cup ticket future on the Florida Panthers before the puck dropped on the season. They're so good at home. They're 21-3 on home ice, 21-3 on home ice, and the over is hit in 18 of those games. So you see I have the parlay there, the over 6.5. I see some spots as 7. That's a little high to ask for 8 goals. Calgary and St. Louis over 6. I expect to see Husso in net for the Blues. Jordan Binnington's been just awful, but 6 I think is too low. Flames played last night. Markstrom got the start. He got the shutout. I didn't really give him love off the top. It was mostly about the offense in Calgary, but Markstrom has been unbelievable this season. So the over 6, we're going to get the backup in Calgary and Riddick. And, for St. Louis there, over 6, I think we'll see some offense there. And then the under between the Kings and the Islanders, 5.5 at plus 475. I don't think we'll see a lot of offense there. And then some goal scorers here for tonight. Again, we're going to break all of this down with Eric Young, and he's been hitting some goal scorers. So I'm going with Artemi Panarin tonight. It has nothing to do with the revenge. Kreider and Zibanejad just don't have great odds. They're basically plus 130, plus 140. So I think with Artemi Panarin at plus 185, just, again, a good spot here for the Rangers against the Blue Jackets. Svechnikov's been hot. He's been red hot over the past couple of games, like multi-point games for Svechnikov. And I really like the Carolina Hurricanes to be able to generate some offense against the Ottawa Senators here tonight. Brian Russ has been our guy. I have no problem with Russ or Gensel or Crosby, but out of the 3, these are the best odds for that line is Brian Russ. I mentioned in the last segment the success that he has had on home ice this year. Anthony Duclair and Andre Palat are long shots. A little bit longer odds here. Duclair is up on that top line with Jonathan Huberdeau and Alexander Barkov. I love the over 6.5. And for Palat, he's back in the lineup here tonight, plus 225 against the Devils, who have allowed a lot of rubber and a lot of goals over the month of January. It's just not really healthy right now. No Dougie Hamilton. It's not the same defensive squad. So for Palat, getting back into the lineup here tonight, going to be playing with Braden Point, going to be on that top power play. I like it quite a bit. The reason I am on Vegas, I just think it's, I didn't really explain that pick in the last board there. I think we could see Max Pacioretty back tonight. That would be a big boost. Mark Stone returned to the lineup. And it's just such a good team where I have to jump on that plus 160. On Tuesday, I talked about them against Carolina, like really hesitant not to take them. I didn't end up taking them, but they came back in that game. They pushed it to overtime, and they hung around. And that was Stone's first game back after missing several, and there was no Max Pacioretty. If you wanted to wait this out just to see where Max Pacioretty, if he returns or not, by all means, I don't think the odds would change that much. But ultimately, this is a really good Vegas squad, and Florida went on a lengthy road trip out west. They hit up the Canadian teams. Now they come back home. We've seen a lot of teams go out on that road trip, and they play a little flat. They play a little loose, but at the same time, they also play that way anyways. A lot of offense in their games, as I mentioned earlier. So I'm going to take the shot on Vegas here. We'll break. I see some people talking about Team USA, Team Canada. Is this Olympic talk here? And Canada came out with, it's soccer talk. It's soccer talk. Canada came out with their roster yesterday, and for the first time, I guess in a long, long time, they will not be favorites to win a gold medal at the Olympics. We'll talk some Olympic hockey in the weeks to come as we inch a little bit closer to the Olympics. Tino's in here next, and I've given him more than 30 seconds to talk the NBA. Good thing there are only 2 games on the hardcore. Keep her locked. Welcome back into Mean Streets here on Game Plus Network as we bring in Tino Rodriguez. The Rangers are starting Georgiev. Appreciate that, Gildan. I still like them. I still like him. I think he's a capable goalie. He's not obviously as good as Igor Shesterkin. I'm fine with that. I think that's probably why you're seeing the line movement, but I still like the Rangers here today. And, I did see something from the artist Mark Harrison as well about Kreider at 3.5. I also still like Kreider at 3.5, but Mika Zibanejad probably a better play. Unibet has Kreider at 2.5 at a decent price, I think minus 135. So they're sleeping on him just a little bit. Tino, before we get into some NBA, yes, I've left you more than 30 seconds to talk about the 2 games in the association. What we wanted to do off the top, but I rambled a little bit about the young quarterbacks in the AFC, is the 3 stars from last night in the association. So let's give them a little bit of love. Let's give our guy George Z some love for these sharp graphics. Devin Booker leads the way, 43 points, 12 boards, and 4 assists. Kelly Oubre Jr., there's a lot of other guys I could have, gave some love to here, but I wanted to give some love to a guy who had 10 trays, right? We've talked about him a couple times. He had 9 threes, I think the first or second game of the month for Charlotte, but 39 points, 10 trays, 5 boards, still hanging around in Yahoo and ESPN leagues. And then Nikola Vucevic, who ruined the Raptors run there, but 15 boards, 17 points and 8 assists. I thought that was a pretty phenomenal game too. A couple shout outs to some other guys. I mean, no Ja Morant on here, 41 points in 37 minutes, only 1 turnover. His last 4 games, 41, 35, 38, and 33. I don't know what we can say about this guy. He's an absolute baller. And then triple-double from Luka, LaMelo, and Dejounte Murray in there as well. So a lot of great candidates in the NBA for stars, but those are the ones we went to. Here we go, Tino. 2 games in the association. Tell me you're all over the Lakers tonight.
I love Mark Harrison also hyping me up. I want Chris to take over the segment because I only need 30 seconds. I'm not used to having time, so it's better this way. I do like the Lakers tonight, but I actually would rather take them plus the points because I have trust issues with them. So the real play for me here is plus money LeBron double-double. You can get him at plus 125 most places. I know we were hyping up his triple double. But if you want to play it safe, if you're getting plus money and he has to do, one less thing, I'd rather do that. One of my favorite plays, and I'm glad that we were able to talk some college basketball, and I liked what the advice was, that you got to look for these non-Power 5 schools, basically, these mid-major conferences, to find some value. And I was actually talking to Brandon Gilden about this yesterday in the DMs, but I'm actually going to avoid that and go to something that is very obvious and in front of my face, and I'm not going to overthink it. And I'm taking Wisconsin to cover, laying the points against Nebraska, who stink this year. Wisconsin's won 6 straight against Nebraska. 5 of those 6 have been by double digits. They only got to win by 8 today. I'm just taking the better team. I normally don't like to lay that many points on the road, especially in the Big Ten, where nobody wants to be good or win that division. But I'm going to lay it. I know I got some heat on the UAB love, but I did want to shout out Jordan Walker, who's a transfer, and he's just been balling 36, 27, 20, and 20 his last 4. Big win for them against Louisiana Tech a game ago. And I just think, them being on the road, winning that game, I think they'll carry the momentum and pull off a nice little cover for us, cover that 3. But if you want to see my in-depth detail on that, just jump into the chat. They've also been really good against the spread. In terms of the Timberwolves Warriors, I don't know, Meaney. I just don't trust myself sometimes. Why do I want to take the Timberwolves plus 6 and tell me why the Warriors are going to win by like 25 today after playing the way they have, right? It's weird. I can't figure out the Warriors. I was on them pretty well early in the season. As of late, they just haven't been the same. I expect them to show up today. I think that's going to be a stay-away game for me. I think the better play and the prop play for me would be in the Lakers 76ers game. But the Timberwolves are a fun team to watch. I think Anthony Edwards is coming off a 40-point game. So, yeah, something to note there.
And the guys are hard on us here on the show here lately, right? I mean, you got the stamp of approval from Gilden on Wisconsin, and Am the Artist all over me. You I feel talking into the segment here.
I feel the pressure. It's like I'm not 100% a college basketball guy, but it's getting me going. We're nearing March Madness, a month away. I got to start getting sharp. I need Brandon Gilden to get on me now. So come March Madness time, we're on top of our game. Also, I love how everyone's been gassing up the Mandalorian helmet the last couple of days and the last week, really, since I've changed this up. Seriously, go watch the new episode of Boba Fett. Amazing, fellas. Amazing. Go check it out. It aired last night. If you haven't caught up, catch up first. But big fan of what's to come.
We got to get out of here. We still went long on this final segment. All right, from Chelsa, Tino, myself, Chris Meaney, thanks so much, guys, for taking the time to hang out. We're going to lock in all of the conference championship picks tomorrow on Mean Streets. Have a good one. Cheers.